Note: preceding this experience I had been taking melatonin, vitamin B6 and ginkgo biloba regularly. Setting and substance qualities. I was offered the chance to obtain some 300 mg of pure MDA by a person I trust. I accepted. The substance came in the form of a strange brownish syrupy goo. I know for a fact that this was not MDMA. The goo smelled like a combination between MDMA and rotten carrots. We were at my friend's house and 2 of us were going to dose that night. I am experienced with the substance, it's been in my ecstasy before, but I'd never tried it pure. There were a bunch of people over and we're all good friends, so the environment was positive. We smoked a large ass session, like 6 GS between 6 people. Needless to say we were all blitzed. Then we decided we'd better dose because my friend had work the following day. We weighed out our respective doses and put the goo inside a ball of cigarette rolling paper. We downed it with some water. The goo that remained on my fingers I rubbed into my gums. Tasted absolutely horrid. There was a cigarette paper covered in the dark oil that came off the goo. The trip. About 5 minutes after ingestion I felt an alert. Weird. I mentioned it to my friend and he agreed that his was kicking in too. So we booted it out onto his deck for another session to relax. That's when another person arrived with his girlfriend, bringing a couple ounces of buds, and the news that one of those ounces was to smoke that night. Oh nice. So we smoked a couple bowls with everyone and talked about old times. Hee hee. Then I was getting rushes, more intense than MDMA, but about as gentle. The gittery impatient feeling I get with MDMA was not there. Every toke from the weed caused me to jump up one giant notch on the scale and I was already having an intense experience. Emotionally I felt connected to everyone and everything around me, like my brain had sent out countless psychic tendrils into the soul of every living thing on the planet. I felt strong euphoria and experienced no bodily discomfort. I lasted about 5 more minutes before grabbing my girlfriend's hand and asking if we could use the guest room. MWA ha ha. So we ran upstairs and I had one of the most intense hallucinations I've ever witnessed. While I was making love to her, my girlfriend's face transformed into that of what I can only guess was the goddess. Now my girlfriend is a goddess as far as I'm concerned, but it was amazing. I can't put into words how strangely empowering it was. I was never able to come to physical orgasm, but the cosmic orgasm I had was better anyway, so I didn't care. We came downstairs and smoked some more weed. Everyone was happy to see us after our long absence. Hee hee. This is when I smoked the paper with the rest of the MDA on it. I put some weed in my bowl and folded the paper into a small rectangle. Then I just toked hard until it was all gone and the ashes were sucked down the tube. Instantly I felt a huge rush and the trip suddenly took on a more visual countenance. My girlfriend had to leave to drive home at this point, so I stayed. I couldn't leave my friends to the horrible fate of smoking all that weed alone. Next we went out for a walk, and things started getting really interesting. The long grass at the sides of the road swayed in rhythm with the beating of my heart. Every rock I looked at had a big smile on it. We sat in a field for a while talking about all our past mushroom trips at that very same spot. As we sat there I was watching these 4 evergreen trees, simply because they were beautiful to look at, and all of a sudden one of the trees bent towards the others and they appeared to be whispering to each other. Then to my complete and utter astonishment they began dancing elegantly around the field. It was quite a thing to behold. I was filled with joy, and at that exact moment I realized that every living thing is simply here to dance to the fat beat that the universe puts out. After a while we headed home, and all the while I was getting progressively higher. Most people left a while after that and I grabbed a ride home after helping my friend tidy up his house. When I arrived at home I had a shower. It felt like I was submerged in pure love. I thought a lot about my relationships with my friends and my girlfriend and realized that even though life can deal us a hard hand sometimes, there's always more important things that make it all worthwhile. I went to sleep still high and woke up with a clear head. Aftermath. Additional comments. I enjoy the fact that MDA lasts quite a bit longer than MDMA. Interestingly, the mind fuck and cluttered thinking that I usually get with MDMA was nowhere to be seen. I was quite clear-headed, and although my thinking was altered significantly, I still was in complete control over myself. The day after the experience I was pretty sketched out, but I had a fun day of long walks and smokin' buds. The second day I experienced significant depression, but I think that's due to the fact that I won't see my girlfriend for another week. Overall, I'd say that MDA is a lot more likely than MDMA to provide a meaningful psychedelic experience. Like about 100 times more likely. Recommended to those who are experienced. I could see how an experience on this drugs could be negative, although it's pretty unlikely. A bad trip on this drug would be unbearable if it can get as bad as it can good. Be cautious with dosage too.